Good Thursday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window and some pretty big changes as we got into our Thursday weather today. We began the day with cloudy skies, then rain showers about noontime today. Some decent rain then off and on throughout our afternoon hours. Very dramatic shot you're looking at right now from our Sky-Fi tower camera from this afternoon. And you can see all those dark, low-hanging clouds this afternoon, all associated with the cold front that's moving through the area. And that'll continue to bring us some showers tonight. A bit of a break tomorrow, and then by this weekend, Saturday, I think for the most part, will be nice. We'll see temperatures for us here in the north central part of Washington, and temperatures in the 70s Saturday with cloudy skies. Rain then Saturday night, and it will make for a very rainy Sunday with showers and thunderstorms, and maybe even some heavy rain possible. We'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Washington State issued emergency rules Wednesday governing farm worker housing during the COVID-19 pandemic. A 17-year-old suspect in a stolen car led Moses Lake police on a chase this morning that included driving in circles in the Winco parking lot. And a Malaga man who conned his victims out of thousands of dollars and then bragged about it on social media got a 7-year prison sentence this week. But first, we begin tonight. Chelan and Douglas counties asked to take a half step forward towards reopening the Wenatchee Valley economy, but the State Department of Health turned them down. Yesterday, the Chelan-Douglas Health District asked for a variance under Governor Jay Inslee's State Safe Start Pandemic Recovery Program to reopen small retail stores, medical and dental services, hair and nail salons, pet grooming, and additional construction in the valley. All would still need to meet social distancing and safety requirements to minimize viral spread. The petition was endorsed by multiple local agencies, towns, businesses, and churches, but counties must show no new COVID-19 cases for at least 3 weeks before they qualify. Chelan and Douglas counties reported 2 new cases as recently as Monday. Health Secretary John Weissman rejected the proposal. Only 8 Washington counties have so far qualified to move into Phase 2 of the governor's 4-phase recovery program. Washington State issued emergency rules Wednesday governing farm worker housing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Farm employers must provide laborers with cloth face coverings and ensure physical distancing at housing sites. That includes all cooking, eating, bathing, washing, recreational, and sleeping facilities. Beds must be at least 6 feet apart with occupants sleeping head to toe, and bunk beds can only be used in limited conditions. Farm worker advocates have called for even stricter rules to protect laborers from coronavirus. They've mounted an ongoing lawsuit against the State Departments of Labor and Health in Skagit County Court. In other news, a 17-year-old suspect in a stolen car led Moses Lake police on a chase this morning that included driving in circles in the Winco parking lot while flipping off customers who were yelling at him to stop. Police say the unidentified teen stole the vehicle after it was left running at a local gas station. As he was leaving the Winco parking lot, the suspect ran over spike strips but continued to flee on flat tires before losing control and crashing through a fence and then hitting a parked car near the corner of Grape and Central Drives. The teen faces numerous charges. A Malaga man who conned his victims out of thousands of dollars and bragged about it on social media got a 7-year prison sentence this week. 22-year-old Damian Scott Halley pleaded guilty to counts of leading organized crime and intimidating witnesses. Sheriff's deputies say he bilked his local victims on banking scams, threatened and harassed them if they cooperated with police, and then posted photos and videos of himself handling large amounts of cash on Facebook. He pleaded guilty last week in Chelan County Superior Court. Well, coming up next, a $660,000 state project to remove loose and unstable rocks along Highway 97A is expected to start next Wednesday after being delayed since April because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Douglas County PUD will sell excess power over the next 5 years to Portland General Electric, which serves almost 900,000 customers in Oregon. And in just over 2 weeks, the $1.2 million in CARES Act funding for students at Wenatchee Valley College has been depleted. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Nissan is the value leader in new cars and SUVs. Check out these new models starting at under $20,000. The all-new Versa from $17,020. The all-new Sentra from $17,400. And the all-new Kicks from $17,995. Now you can have the Nissan style, performance, and reliability, all for under $20,000.
And they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house, fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
Welcome back. In another news, a $660,000 state project to remove loose and unstable rocks along Highway 97A is expected to start next Wednesday after being delayed since April because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Washington State Department of Transportation says during the work, the highway will be closed for extended periods between Eniat and Chelan in 3 different areas. Rocks and boulders sliding onto the highway has been a persistent problem, with numerous vehicles suffering damage. Work on the project was scheduled to start April 6th, but the DOT suspended all its projects after Governor Jay Inslee issued his Stay Home, Stay Safe order back on March 23rd. Because of the closures, Link Transit said today its buses will travel from Wenatchee to Chelan and Manson on the Douglas County side of the Columbia River, and service between Eniat and Chelan will be suspended. The Douglas County PUD will sell excess power over the next 5 years to Portland General Electric, which serves almost 900,000 customers in Oregon. PUD commissioners approved the contract Monday, agreeing to sell up to 160 megawatts of additional capacity from Wells Dam, which has a peak output of about 840 megawatts. In return, PGE will provide the PUD with some load management and wholesale marketing services. Well, in just over 2 weeks, the $1.2 million in CARES Act funding for students at Wenatchee Valley College has been depleted. The Wenatchee Valley College application for coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, or the CARES Act funding, opened back on April 24th. And within 3 days of the application opening, over 400 applications were submitted. As of May 11th, nearly 930 applications had been submitted and 480 had been processed. The average award is $1,387. Student CARES Act funding provides direct emergency cash grants to college students whose lives and educations have been disrupted by the coronavirus outbreak. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
The 2 hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with 3rd-generation EcoDiesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. 2 more reasons when it comes to buying a truck: there's no reason to leave town.
Boating Fishing in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. Now you can fish like a pro without breaking the bank thanks to the ProMag aluminum fishing boat by Smokercraft. It features a great layout with a spacious bow casting platform, huge live wells, and in-floor storage to safely stow your gear. See the Smokercraft line of boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors.
We're dealing.
Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's features story, when COVID-19 first arrived, hospitals encouraged patients to avoid emergency rooms and doctors' offices unless absolutely necessary. But that didn't mean stay away forever, and it's had some unintended consequences. In a press conference today, medical officers from across the state urged people not to delay seeking care when they need it, even while the specter of coronavirus still looms.
Yeah, I could point to with examples of specifics. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been involved in investigating 2 cases of heart attack that were delayed. Both patients had symptoms for days, if not over a week, of chest pain and shortness of breath. They were delayed by the patient's fear of coming in and probably wishful thinking that things would get better. Another patient had a significant fall and had an ankle fracture that they, again, waited on because they were fearful of coming in. And eventually, a persistent spouse kind of drugged them to the orthopedic department, and where they ended up having to have this operated on.
We had, people thinking that they would be able to tough it out at home and came in with perforated appendicitis, which is a larger procedure and involves more time and risk, which could have been prevented if they could have come in sooner. And we had patients that were to come in for their colonoscopies, more diagnostic, and because of the fear of COVID, they've delayed their the camera test for about 8 weeks. And when we were finally able to convince them to come in, we're able to detect early stages of cancer. These all could have been rolled forward and faster for treatment. So kind of those are 2 specific examples in the last couple of weeks.
For Dr. Freed and Dr. Shea, in smaller hospitals or ex-urban regional hospitals, do you feel like your facilities are able to cope with any new intake of COVID patients, given that you are asking patients not to delay care and the counties are asking for more freedom to let people gather and conduct commerce?
Definitely the hospital's restrictions are same, and our policies and procedures are still in place. Over the past weekend, we've seen fishing open up, and we do have influx of visitors that are on Banks Lake and Lake Roosevelt. So we're anticipating maybe a small surge, and I think just speaking for Cooley Medical Center, preparation is the key. I think our incident command discusses about potential surges and COVID patients on a daily basis to see what we need to amp up on and how we need to prepare. We also have weekly community meetings with our community leaders to talk about what their need is, what do they anticipate, and how do we help them prepare for that. So we don't know what the answer is. We don't know what it would actually look like, but I think transparency and communication is the key for this.
I anticipate a surge. I absolutely do. I don't want to be pessimistic, but we have a fair amount of capacity in our ICU, but it will fill up like a narrow-necked bottle when this community opens back up, is my fear. Our limitations are what they are. So I worry about that. I think we have to look at the numbers. We have to collaborate with our county health department and local government and the local business leaders and use our best judgment going forward.
Time now for a check of your north central Washington weather forecast. Before we get to all of that, let's take a look outside our weather window. And been off and on showers throughout the afternoon. It all began around noontime or so today. Some pretty decent shower activity this afternoon as well. And this is from today, looking down at the beautiful Wenatchee Valley from our Sky-Fi Tower camera up on Wenatchee Heights. We call it the cross camera. And you can see a lot of low-hanging and mid-level clouds out there today, all associated with a pretty deep area of low pressure and associated trough that we'll talk about in a second. It's actually a big low pressure system that's going to bring us more rain as we get into the upcoming weekend. Let's look at our temperature for today. Unofficially, we only got to 60 degrees, and that's well below where we should be for this time of year. Our normal high now is at 71. We started off about where we should be at 49. 48 is normal. Record high 93 degrees set back in 1997. Record low 36 in 1986. So far today at the airport, 3/100ths of an inch, and that gets us to an even 2 inches now for the year. That's from January 1st until today. Sunrise this morning 5:25. Sun will set tonight just after 8:30 at 8:31. Let's take a peek now at our Friday forecast, getting us into the end of the week and the upcoming weekend. Friday's going to be a pretty nice day. We'll see a steady dose of sun throughout the day on Friday, and temperatures will be much warmer than today. I just mentioned only 60 today. We're looking at lower 70s for the Columbia Basin, Ephrata, Moses Lake, and Quincy. 71 for Wenatchee, also Eniat and Chelan. So it should be a very nice way to end our work week, but it's not going to last long. Let's get into that surface loop now, and I'll show you why. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. We could still see an isolated shower or thunderstorm this evening. It's all from waves of moisture coming off this area of low pressure, which is a gigantic one out in the Pacific, and that will continue to affect our weather as we get into the weekend. But Friday, as I just mentioned, really not a bad day tomorrow. Mostly sunny, dry, and warmer. You can see this system's getting a little bit closer to the west coast, but we're going to see a nice day on Friday with temperatures mainly in the 60s to around 70 degrees. Saturday, cloudy. We'll see mild temperatures with an 80% chance of rain. That'll be later on. You can see our frontal boundary right here in western Washington, and that will continue to move through the state as we make our way into late Saturday night. And then on Sunday, it's going to be a wet one. Cloudy skies, an 80% chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. And with those thunderstorms, we could see some pretty heavy downpours of rain. So we're going to keep our eye on the Stehekin and Okanagan rivers this weekend. For Monday, still wet, mostly cloudy, a 60% chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. A lot of those thunderstorms will be up in the northeast part of the state. Boy, we are really hoping that there's no new fire starts because of any lightning, but we're going to keep our eye on that too. Tuesday, partly cloudy, just isolated showers as we begin to stabilize a little bit in our weather pattern. It will warm up a little for Tuesday as well. And then as we get into our midweek Wednesday, things look pretty nice. We'll see partly cloudy skies once again. It will be mild. A little bit of rain to our east and also a little bit of activity to our west as well. So if you're traveling in either of those directions, you could get wet and also could be a little bit windy as we get into the middle of next week. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. Tonight, about where we should be for overnight lows at 47 degrees. Tomorrow, a nice way to end our work week. In fact, an in-between storm day for Friday and 71. Not bad for about 3/4 of Saturday. 71 degrees for Saturday, and then that big storm moves in, so we're going to get wet late Saturday night, and then the real wet stuff will happen on Sunday. An 80% chance of rain, cloudy skies, and 69. 68, still wet on Monday with the 60% chance of rain, and then just partly cloudy skies on both Tuesday and Wednesday with high temperatures then at 70 degrees. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Gransrtrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Doghouse Motorsports just won Best Motorsports Store for the 6th year in a row. Is it the great facility? Is it the fantastic products? Or is it?
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Tamer. I'm Mike.
And I'm Glenn.
Hi, I'm Todd.
I'm Jeff.
And this is the Doghouse Service Team.
Hi, I'm Dee.
And I'm Dwayne.
And I'm Kathy.
Come on in and experience the Doghouse.
Are you in the Doghouse?
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Thursday to you. Staying home and staying healthy. Eric Gransrtrom on the NCWLIFE channel. Multi-sport star Grace Erdman has decided to stay close to home and continue her basketball career. The Cashmere senior signed a letter of intent to become a Wenatchee Valley Lady Knight this fall. Erdman was a 4-year starter on Cashmere's dominant basketball team. She helped the Bulldogs to a 48-0 league record, 95-7 overall in her 4 season. She was 3-time first-team All-Caribou Trail League and first-team All-State selection last year. Congratulations to the Lady Knights and to Grace Erdman. Well, coaches and staff members for the Seattle Mariners were told this week that they will lose money, but they will still have a job. The team informed their personnel working under uniform employee contracts that certain employees will have a 5-month reduction in pay, but there will be no furloughs or layoffs through the end of October. The pay reductions of at least 20% are for staff making $60,000 or more. The contract covers Major League coaching staff, coaches and coordinators in a minor league system, scouts and performance coaches. According to the story today, those with larger salaries are expected to take a cut more significant than 20%. The team had previously told employees working under the contract that they would receive full pay through May 31st in light of the coronavirus pandemic. While humans are dealing with the coronavirus, elk herds in Washington are dealing with hoof rot disease. An article in today's Yakima Herald says one of 13 elk in the Yakima herd captured earlier this year had early-stage elk hoof disease. It's the first case in the Yakima herd and second in all of eastern Washington. The Wildlife Department chose to euthanize the infected elk to reduce potential spread, said Margaret Wild, WSU's lead scientist for the study of the untreatable disease. She said, quote, when you catch just 13 animals and one of them has a lesion, it makes you think, that's likely not the only animal with a lesion in the herd. Obviously, the disease is much more widespread than we'd realized previously, end quote. In our state, confirmed cases of elk hoof rot, elk hoof rot, have been found in all 10 herds except the Clockham herd in Kittitas County and the Selkirk herd north of Spokane. Hunters and wildlife watchers are asked if you see anything that looks like elk hoof rot, then you're asked to call the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And if you see elk hook rot, then you can call us here at the NCWLIFE channel. Washington State University, like everyone else, is hoping for an entire football season with 12 games this fall, but just in case, schools preparing season ticket holders for alternatives. The school's ticketing website posted a message to season ticket holders yesterday that they'll have 3 options if the football season is impacted by coronavirus pandemic. 1, they can donate the tickets and parking lot to school or parking to the school as a gift, which is tax deductible. 2, they can get credit on this season's tickets and parking towards tickets and parking for next season. Or 3, they can get a refund. The message to Cougar fans comes a day after the California State University system announced it would be reverting to mostly online courses this fall, potentially harming the 5 football-playing members that fall under the CSU tree. That's San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, Cal Poly, and Sacramento State. In addition, UCLA, Cal, and UC Davis plan on only a partial reopen this fall. Well, 2018 was certainly a special year for the Wenatchee Wild. It was year 10 in the den, the 10th season of amateur hockey at the Town Toyota Center. The Wild finished 3rd in the interior division of the BCHL that year, but they were gaining momentum towards the playoffs. In the first round, Wenatchee swept Merritt in 4 games. They then ousted Vernon in the second round at a hard-fought 6-game series. They dusted Trail in 5 games and then faced Prince George in the Fred Page Cup Finals. On tonight's Hockey Nights on the NCWLIFE channel, we'll bring you Game 5 between the Wild and Spruce Kings at the Town Toyota Center. This great game of our past was truly fantastic as the Wild gave Wenatchee something it had never had before, a championship.
Top of the near circle. He looks, feeds it down low, tipped by Weatherby, backdoor, and score! Zach Golambus. Toba does have action tonight. We'll look at that a little bit later on. There's Causey with a shot, and that went off the pipe. Leaves it for Morton. He's in down low. Shot and a save made. Rebound. Shot blocked away. Galambos had a whack at it. And in traffic, it just didn't find its way through. Morton creeps down to the bottom of the circle. Cycles it. One touch pass across. Shot. Score! Zach Galambos does it again. It's going to be Vanderbeck who muscles it just in across the line. And throws it at the empty net. He scores! The captain, A.J. Vanderbeck. 10 seasons, 2 ownerships, 2 leagues, 3 head coaches, and one very special group of athletes that grew together to become a team. Wenatchee, you are home to an ice hockey champion. Your Wenatchee Wild are the BCHL 2018 Fred Page Cup champions.
Our buddy Art Checker with a call. Be sure and watch all of the match, all of the game tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on the NCW Life channel. And again, a reminder of what's coming up for the rest of the weekend. A girls' soccer match tomorrow night from a frigid night last October when Kashmir hosted Cascade. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Then Sunday at 1:30, it's Wenatchee and Moses Lake baseball for May of 2017. That's followed at 6:30 by Apple Sox baseball and the Portland Pickles from last July. Sunday's lineup has Eastmont girls soccer in the state tournament from last November against Meade at 2 o'clock. That'll be followed by the Wenatchee Wild and West Kelowna at 7. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Gransrtrom. Grant, back to you.
Thanks a bunch, Eric. And finally tonight, nearly 100,000 pounds of potatoes and onions will be given away for free this weekend in East Wenatchee. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in partnership with Agra Northwest and River Point Onions, will distribute 70,000 pounds of potatoes and 20,000 pounds of onions. That'll all happen this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that'll be held in the parking lot of the LDS Church located at 667 10th Street Northeast. Farmers all across the country have been forced to either give away their product or destroy it because most of it's sold to restaurants who've been closed since March because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. Tomorrow is Friday. Not only is tomorrow Friday, the beginning of the weekend, it's also payday. Yeah, so as a special feature tomorrow on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, I'm going to take my $37.19, that big fat paycheck, and we're going to go out and we're just going to blow it on local businesses because they need it. They need our help. Plus, we'll have your weather forecast. We'll have news. We'll have sports. We'll have everything you need to start your weekend live and local right here. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 7 a.m. from Studio 7 right here in downtown Wenatchee. Grant, back to you.
Have a great weekend, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Still Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.